Welcome to the Reese Report. I'm Andrew Reese, and I am back with Gil Bay Santos for our bonus show called The Locks of the Week. We're going to continue this as me and Gil are on fire. I myself am now 6-0 on my picks, and Gil is 5-1. Last week, I picked the Chargers to cover 1.5 against the Bengals. Looked pretty easy for a while until the Bengals made that scary comeback, but Herbert came through and they got a touchdown by Dobbins at the end. Who else did I take? Who'd you take, Gil?
I lost on the Packers. They won by one. It was a five and
Right.
a half.
That's right.
I took, I believe, was the Broncos to demolish Atlanta by two,
Yes.
and then I believe was it Houston?
No, you didn't take Houston. Who did you take last week? I don't know. I wrote this down, but I can't. Oh, the Dolphins. You had the Dolphins
The Dolphins.
to
Yeah.
cover 7.5 against Vegas. My picks were uh, the Steelers to cover three. They won outright against the Ravens, and also the Houston Texans to cover seven over the Cowboys. That they won easily 27-10. I believe it ended up being, or 34-10. So on fire, as I told you. Both of us had Joe Mixon going crazy against the Cowboys. That also came in. So listen to us and you might make some money, people. Last 2 weeks, for sure. So let's get to our third week of the locks, and we'll do this one pick at a time like we did last week. Let's let Gil start this time. Gil, who's your first lock of the week?
My first lock of the week. I like the Bears to cover a 3.5 against Minnesota Vikings. It's gonna be a win factor. It's gonna be a ugly day. It's gonna be low scoring, and I think the Bears played well last week. They lost to the Packers, but they did play well. It's not like they played bad. I think and they usually play good against the Vikings. So even if the Vikings win by a field goal, I think the Bears will cover the 3.5.
Okay, my first lock is the Washington Commanders to cover a 10 against Dallas Cowboys. I've picked against Dallas every week for a while now. They're an absolute train wreck. You got players blaming coaches for not working hard enough. You got the owner talking about the sunlight and saying that the team's good but can't perform in the field. Talking about his win record from the past 10 years, even though they haven't won a playoff game in forever. It's a disaster. Mike McCarthy's going to lose his job. And then we'll see if Belichick ends up a Cowboy or if we see Deion Sanders over there. Commanders need this game bad, and it's a massive revenge game for Dan Quinn. And Dan Quinn is not going to take it easy on his old team. So I got the Commanders winning by 10 or more. Gil, who's your second lock of the week?
My second lock of the week, I like it was the LA Rams to cover a 3 against the Eagles. I just think the Rams have a lot of offensive power. They need to win. And I've seen Philly flop these type of games. Like I've seen it. I'm sure you've seen it. Uh, and I just think the Rams are at home. They have the firepower. And I think Philly, when it comes to games like this, they just ruin it. They get confused and then they start blaming each other. So I'm gonna take the Rams to cover that 3 at home.
Yeah, it's not a bad idea to take home dogs like that. You got two of them already. My second lock is the Houston Texans to cover an 8 against Tennessee. I talked about this on the show. Tennessee doesn't have a quarterback. They're playing a good defense. Um, it's really demoralizing when you're a team trying to score points and you have a quarterback that can't play or throws picks or is running all over the field. Um, Houston has been sort of average this year because of their offensive line issues and the inconsistency of CJ Stroud. But now with Nico Collins back, I think that you'll see the Houston Texan team you saw in the first couple of weeks of the season, and they will make a nice little run. They've got the division won because, I mean, the division is a joke, but I think Houston needs to show who they are and what they are coming up in their next few games, and this will be the start of it. So I've got the Texans covering an 8 against the Tennessee Titans. Gil, your third and final lock.
I had two games in mind, but I'm gonna go Denver to cover
Yeah,
the
Denver.
six. I look at this Raider team, and I don't even think they're gonna score against this Bronco defense. Like, this Bronco defense is on fire right now. Well, Knicks is on fire, and Vegas is still wondering why do they have a football team. So I like the Broncos to cover the six. I know it's a road game, but that's just how bad the Raiders are. So I think Broncos should win that game.
Yeah, tough one because it's a division game. They're always tough division games like that, but understandable the way Denver's playing in that defense. I mean, I just don't know who the Raiders are. I don't think anybody knows who they are. My final lock, which is one of my, I never thought I would ever say this, but one of my favorite teams in the NFL right now is the LA Chargers. Um, they have been the San Diego Shitty Chargers for many years, Gil, because they were masters at blowing leads at the end of games. When they had Staley as coach, they'd go for it when they shouldn't. They didn't go for it when they should, and they'd always lose the game in the last 2 minutes. That has not happened this year. It happened once against Arizona because Kyler Murray just knows how to run all over the field. But for the most part, the Chargers have been good in close games. They won that game after the big comeback by the Cincinnati Bengals, something that wouldn't have happened over the last 3 years. But they made two stops and Herbert pulled it out. The Ravens are a flawed football team for two reasons. One, they have a terrible pass defense. They have a coach in John Harbaugh who doesn't know what his team's identity is. He sends Lamar out there to throw 35 times in a game against the Steelers with a bad rush defense where they should have ran the ball 30 times to Derrick Henry. He only sees the ball 13 times, and the Steelers win with 6 field goals. If they do that against the Chargers, that will go right into the Chargers' hands. They're the best defense in the league point wise, and that will lead to Herbert throwing a bunch of touchdowns. I got Chargers covering the three and winning outright. I actually think this line is kind of ridiculous, just like it was last week when the Steelers were at home to them. So I got the Chargers covering the three, and you can bump it up to 3.5 if you like. But I think they went outright. So I got the Chargers. So those are our three locks this week. Gil and I are hoping to continue to roll and make you all some money. Um, I will give you some props this week. Gil pointed out, and I'll let Gil do this himself, but he pointed out the Minnesota Chicago monsoon disaster that might be coming. Is that an underplay for you, Gil?
I believe so. I would say take the under. It's going to be very low scoring. It's be like maybe a 21-10, a 17-10. The wind's going to play a factor. It might even be hard to kick field goals in that game.
Yeah, for me, the running backs on Washington, whether it be Eckler or Robinson, take the over. The Dallas run defense is just brutal, guys. Like Joe Mixon, just he was laughing. He was laughing at them last week. It was just a joke. Um, then I would go Tampa Bay's running back, Bucky Irving. I think he'll have a big day against Giants defense. The Giants are tanking, so expect a lot of running in that game, especially if they get up late in the game. There'll be a lot of running. Um, I would also take the Detroit running backs. Indy's rush defense is brutal, guys. So take Montgomery and or Gibbs or both to run for a lot of yards. Guaranteed Montgomery's getting a touchdown in that game. So that's easy money for you.
Well,
Um,
I would say take Mixon again against that
yeah,
Tennessee defense at home.
there you go. Yeah. I'd also take James Conner for Arizona. I think he's gonna have a good day against the Seattle defense. Kyler Murray to go over his total for rushing because he's going to be running around. He'll do that stupid play where he looks like he's going to throw and runs for 40 yards. He does it every game, so look out for that.
And
Um,
Baker Mayfield will go on the over. He usually does.
yeah, yeah, I think that's a safe bet as well. I think that's it for the props for me. I think that's good. Um, who else is going to have a big day? Yeah, I think that's good for the props. Do you have anything else, Gil?
Well, yeah, probably the Chiefs, Kelsey. I see him getting maybe a touchdown catch or two.
Mhm,
Um, Bo Nix, I have a feeling he'll have a field day on that Raider defense.
mhm.
And pretty much we pretty much capped it all. But I think
Yeah.
I'm a Packer fan. I think McCaffrey might have a big day.
Yeah, the Packers run defense is always a problem. The other one I would do is I believe Pacheco's coming back this week. If Pacheco's back, you can take him to go over, or you can take Kareem Hunt, who's had some good days for the Chiefs. They're going to run all day on the Carolina defense. So Expect a lot of running in that game to keep Mahomes from making mistakes. And if they're up late, again, more running in that game from Kansas City. So look out for that as well. So those are our picks, guys. Look, we're on a roll. So like, subscribe, comment, give us some more views. Let us know what you think. But when you're almost undefeated between the two of us, there's not much to complain about. If you've won, share with us your winnings. Show us that you've won. Put it in the comments section. Take a screenshot. Let us know that you won. I'm gonna post it in the description after the winning tickets from myself, and if Gil will share me his, I'll show you that we did make these plays and did win our parlays, and so or our flat plays. So we'll show you we're not just talking, we're betting these games and trying to help you win. So for the mouth of the North, Andrew Reese, that's Gilbay Santos. We will see you next week on the Reese Report. We will be back to do this show again. We'll try to find out what Jose picked. Jose went 0-3 last week, so he's probably heartbroken after his pick last week. He went against me again, took the Bengals. That was a heartbreaker for him. He took the Jets again, who lost outright at home to the Colts. I hope that he's finally given up on this team because they've now fired the coach, the GM, and the owner's going to go be in President Trump's cabinet. So they're not going to have much of a team left after all these guys are getting fired and leaving. So it's just a disaster in New York. We'll talk more about the Jets next week. They're on a bye. But what an absolute disaster the Jets have been this year. And Aaron Rodgers is going to go to the dark place and not come out. It's just a disaster. Davante Adams must be thinking, what the hell have I gotten myself into? But we'll talk more about the Jets next week. And Jose just went 0-3 last week. I don't know. He made another pick that lost, so not a good not a good week for Jose. But he's 2-4. We'll see if we can get his picks and he does a rebound of sorts. But that's the locks of the week this week. Nice little short show. Like I said, watch us, make some money, and hit my music. We'll see you next week on the Reese Report.